Okay, so I didn't want to do like a full big Deltarune theory. I don't have time to make like a big Deltarune theory before Chapter 5 come out. But I just want to maybe just make known one of my crazy predictions for what's gonna happen in the next chapter. It's a bit of a wild take, but I feel like there is some evidence to suggest that this may happen. I feel like there is some reason to believe that this may happen, and I think it would be thematic in a way, I guess. I think what is going to happen is that so the next world is going to be the flower world, of course. The next chapter is going to be flower world. So I definitely think the final boss is going to be Flowey. I think what's going to happen is that Flowey's going to become the sun, and we're going to have to boss fight the sun. Now, let me take a step back. I'm assuming everyone has seen this trailer, right? Because it's like, we've been waiting for so long to see this trailer, and it's finally out. I'm not gonna watch through the whole trailer here. Uh, but if I do go back to the beginning, I do go back to sort of like the beginning here where the dog shows up. So there's like a little sprout that it was. That's a sunflower. That's a sunflower. That's not just any flower. That's a sunflower. So Flowey in the original Undertale, he was like a buttercup, I think he was. He was a golden flower. Um, Perhaps in Deltarune, he will be a sunflower. And of course, there is a pun here: a sunflower, a sun which is a flower. And there is a lot of emphasis on the sun in the trailer. There is a lot of emphasis on the sun because it's like, well, why would a dark world have a sun? Well, that does make sense because the Cyberworld did have a moon. But remember what happened with the Cyberworld's moon? The Cyberworld moon was like a baseball. I almost said tennis ball. It was a baseball. The Cyberworld moon was a baseball. So it stands to reason that a dark world can have like celestial objects like moons and suns and stuff if that object is going to be an object in the light world, you know? Um, Now, whether or not this means that Flowey is going to be the sun, or that Flowey is going to become the sun, we will just have to wait and see. Another thing is, I definitely think we will be having Omega Flowey round 2, round 3 if you include Undertale Yellow, because this is the soul attack from Omega Flowey. This right here, this is the exact attack that Omega Flowey gave. So I definitely think we will be seeing some version of Flowey again. I definitely think he will be the main antagonist of this chapter. Maybe we'll be following Asgore for like a significant portion of it, but we're sort of building up the to the point where it's like Flowey takes charge, just like we did in Undertale, right? In Undertale, Asgore was built up as the final boss, but we always kind of knew that Flowey was going to come in last minute and be the true final boss, you know? And so I definitely could see something like this happening in Chapter 5. I want to expand on that a little bit. And I want to say that I think at this point in the story, Flowey is going to pretend to be the angel, if that makes sense, right? Like if he does become the sun, he's going to be like a very powerful being over the Stark world, which is going to hold sway over what happens to like the darkness inside it. But we were kind of discussing this. I think the way Toby Fox uses devil imagery is it's very consistent. It's the idea of a character who tries to be like God, but misses the point. I think that is like a theme that's sort of woven through Deltarune that we see with basically all of the devil imagery characters, is that they do something to try to be like God, or in this case, I guess it's like they're trying to be like the angel, but they miss some big point. And this is kind of what Flowey was in the original Undertale. Flowey in the original Undertale was trying to become a deity, right? He was trying to get his hands on seven human souls and ascend to goshhood, basically. Um, I think Flowey could totally do something like that here. Now, it could be, since Asgore is probably the one who's going to like create this dark world, it could be that Asgore already puts Flowey in like a big position in the dark world, because if this is his golden flower, this is like one of his 7 favorite flowers, perhaps he would automatically put Flowey in like a big ruling position. But Flowey will miss the point. Flowey will miss the point of trying to be like God. In the sense, Flowey is going to lack love. Now maybe he's gonna be like he was in Undertale and call love level of violence, like this whole acronym sort of thing. But it does seem like love is like a theme of Deltarune to an extent. And it does feel like they are playing on the double meanings that the original Undertale did to an even greater extent. Because that was one thing about the original Undertale, is that it was kind of interesting that like the main villain had like this sort of twisted version of love as like their motivation, like level of violence. But they didn't do a lot with that, right? They didn't do a lot with that. Deltarune feels like it's an opportunity to do a lot more with that, with like those double meanings and sort of like acronyms and sort of like twisting of words and stuff like that. And let's not underestimate how much devil imagery there was associated with Flowey in the original Undertale, right? There was a lot of devil imagery associated with Flowey. First of all, his number was 6. He's a lot like Gaster. And, if you remember back in the day, people were always adamant that when you draw Flowey, you draw him with 6 petals. And the reason they were always so adamant about that is because it was kind of clear that Flowey was being tied to 6 as, like, the evil number, And then, like, in his final form, in his Azrael form, he's like this angel with, like, goat horns, like a fallen angel. And he was associated with death, So it was kind of like a sort of like demon character that tries to ascend to deityhood and then like obtains deityhood, And it's like I could see Flowey having that same role over this Dark World. I think that'd be a really cool idea. Now here's the thing, I don't want to get people's hopes up because this is a very out there take. I am not expecting Toby Fox to go in this direction. I just think it would be really cool if he did, and we're gonna have to boss fight the sun. Maybe it's because someone made like someone made a fan-made boss fight where the Delta Warriors fought the moon. I don't remember a lot from it, but I do remember that it existed, and so like seeing something like that in the game itself. I mean, let's be honest here, it's a step up from the Titan. It is a step up from the Titan. We're always saying, well, why are we going back to like silly, goofy, fun shenanigans in Chapter 5 when Chapter 4 was so dark? Well, I mean, fighting a Titan versus fighting a sun. It's a bit wild, I guess. It's a bit wild. I guess in analyzing some other stuff in this trailer, just sort of unrelated from my main theory. First of all, whenever they show, like I think there's a scene earlier where it would like, yeah, like this scene where they sort of like run across the screen like that. I don't know if it's just me, but Rousey's color looks kind of yellow. It looks more yellow than he is in the game. I think they're trying to go for like a bright green, but this could allude to the idea that Noelle might play a big role in this game. And I mean, like, if I rewind, like, those could, like, this is sort of like a squashed sprite. And like, this definitely looks like horns, but then, like, this and, like, this actually look like deer antlers. I don't know. This is kind of like a squashed sprite. It's, like, hard to tell what this is. Like, this is clearly Susie running, and then this is clearly Chris running. And then I assume that this is, like, Azrael flying. that makes sense. Yeah, I think this is Azrael because there's like his little tuft of hair, or Rousey. I mean, sorry, not Azrael, Rousey. There's like his little tuft of hair, and then these would be like his horns. Yeah, and this would be like him flying in blanket. Yeah, this is definitely Rousey's sprite. But the color is significantly more yellow, and I'm wondering if that means something. Will Rousey be disconnected from the main party for like a significant portion of this chapter, and like Noel will have to take his place or something? Because I am wondering if some parts of this trailer are edited to prevent spoilers. Like, we do see Chris, Susie, and Rousey together, but this is just a trailer, and Toby doesn't want to spoil anything. So, you think this will really be our cast of characters for this chapter? I think it will. I think regardless of if Noel joins the team, Rousey and Susie are both still gonna be like a big part of this chapter. I remember I had like a theory back in the day that, like, okay, maybe Susie would be replaced by Noel come chapter 5, because like Gaster would be like forcing her into the villain role of the story or something like that. I don't really think that anymore. I still think something like that could happen, like Gaster forces any one of these characters to be like a twist villain towards the end. But my attention is no longer on this character. My attention is more so pointing towards the specific character who was kind of being built up as a twist villain. Whatever, Gaster, Peanut Phantasm shenanigans. I like this guy. I like this design, this flower pot guy. I don't know who these characters are going to be in Delta Logan yet. I do want to wait for Chapter 5 to come out to start pairing these guys to any, like, Super Mario Logan characters from AAU, because it's like, I want to see what their personalities are, right? Because sometimes it's like the personality fits. Sometimes if I can't tell for like a physical design, I'll go off their personalities. I like these. These guys, everyone said these guys remind them of Rudens. These guys do remind me of Rudens. My idea of floral friends looks like it did not turn out to be correct. I think that was like an interesting idea for how the story could go, but I think if the chapter's going to do anything, it might like focus on Asgore and Flowey as a player and Chris dynamic, but like Flowey's like an evil version, It's sort of like the Bizarro version of Chris and the player, and then like Flowey takes more like a weird route type player. I could see that. And then of course we have this. we have Little Ball, Newbert, and Trashy in like this is 100% going to be a Castletown fight. 100%. This is going to be a dojo fight. This is going to be like one of the fun things that we can do like before the chapter or at the end or something like that. The trailer does show a lot of scenes from chapters 2 and 3. Just because Toby doesn't want to spoil everything. He knows that people are excited for Deltarune. He doesn't need to show off a lot. He just needs to show off a lot to get us interested. And then we have the White Quill. Now, I don't think that this is literally the White Pen of Hope, because I think Gerson was being metaphorical when he mentioned a White Pen of Hope. I don't think there's a literal White Pen of Hope as a MacGuffin that we need to find in the middle of the game. But I do think this is maybe symbolic of the White Pen of Hope, right? This is maybe like symbolic of that. It could be. It could be. I also really like the sort of Japanese Oriental style to the Stark world. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting this world to be more similar to the ruins. But I do like it. There's a beanstalk. I'm assuming this is at the beginning of the chapter. It could be towards the end, though. Like, we do have these sliding segments, like, mid-chapter sometimes. But you know, if there is just like a giant flower or something, maybe the sun is just a giant sunflower, right? You know, it could be the case. Like it has like a little stalk that leads off of it. Um, and then here's the scene of them all running. They might be chasing the knight. They might be chasing someone else. I definitely think this chapter we're going to be learning a lot about like the hometown conspiracy, whatever's going on with that. And once again, we see Rousey in a very yellowy color. I'm pretty sure they're just doing a light green. But I do like the idea that this may imply that Noelle will at least play a role in this chapter. I don't think she'd like replace Rousey entirely, but I do think she'd like come back for more something like chapter 2 had, you know. Yeah, so this is I am excited. I am excited. Another thing I want to discuss is so I also had like this weird idea that when we go into chapter 5 there will be multiple dark worlds. And the reason I say this is because reverse Undertale theory. So reverse Undertale theory has seemed to come true so far. We have a king's castle, and then we have like a metal desert, which is like the core, you know, and then we have like a red place with like a TV star who's like, you know, who's like a big machine with like a screen face. And then we had like, you know, a very watery era. We had like the church. So, like, if reverse Undertale theory is true, then the next world should be Noelle's house, like the Christmas themed one. But the trailer only shows a flower themed world. And, you know, maybe Toby doesn't want to spoil that there's multiple dark worlds that will be traversing through this chapter, you know? If there are multiple dark worlds that are about like the length of a normal dark world, you think he would? Um, he would split it up into multiple chapters. Maybe he's doing it this way because 6 needs to be Hell on Earth Day and 7 needs to be saving the day. Like heaven saving the day from Hell on Earth Day. I mean, like, I could see that. Um, and so, like, both of these Dark Worlds need to be present in this chapter. Because, I mean, like, we could get into the bunker this chapter as well, and that would be sort of like True Lab. Um, Either way, I would be fine if it is just the Flower World. This is apparently going to be the longest chapter of the game. The longest chapter of the game so far. Uh, and of course, he's got his little. I like to think that it's Toby doing these commercials. I understand that it could just be a paid actor in a dog costume, but I like to think that Toby puts on his dog costume and then just like dances around at the beginning of every release trailer from now on. Yeah, so June 24th. I don't think I'm going to do a playthrough of it on my channel. I don't think I am. I like to save like my first impressions to myself, and then like maybe play it again at some point after that. Um, I really kind of only play this to like overanalyze. I don't really play this on the channel to overanalyze it anymore. But like, I'm excited. I'm excited. Say something. Say something.